The relationship between Spiritism and biblical references is a topic of great controversy and debate. Spiritism, often defined as the belief in the communication with spirits or the deceased, has been a subject of fascination and scrutiny for centuries. At the same time, the Bible is unequivocal in its condemnation of Spiritism and occult practices. Spiritism often seeks to legitimize its practices by drawing upon biblical references and passages that can be interpreted in ways that align with its beliefs. For example, proponents of Spiritism may point to instances of communication with the dead in the Bible, such as the story of the Witch of Endor in 1 Samuel 28, in which King Saul seeks the counsel of the deceased prophet Samuel. This passage is often cited to argue that the Bible itself contains examples of spirit communication. However, the biblical narrative does not necessarily endorse or condone these practices. In the case of the Witch of Endor, the outcome is disastrous for King Saul, as he is ultimately condemned for consulting a medium, and he meets a tragic end. It serves as a cautionary tale, warning against engaging with such occult practices. The Bible is explicit in its condemnation of Spiritism, witchcraft, and similar practices. The Old Testament contains numerous verses that unequivocally prohibit such activities. For instance, in Leviticus 19:31 it states, "Do not turn to mediums or seek out spiritists, for you will be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God." Similarly, in Deuteronomy 18:10-12, the Bible warns against practicing divination, interpreting omens, or consulting the dead, emphasizing that these are detestable to the Lord. In the New Testament, the Apostle Paul reinforces this stance by condemning witchcraft, sorcery, and other works of the flesh, Galatians 5:20. The Bible's teachings consistently emphasize the importance of seeking divine guidance and avoiding practices that involve spirits or communication with the deceased. Despite the Bible's explicit condemnation of Spiritism and occult practices, some Spiritists argue that the Bible's words have been misinterpreted or taken out of context. They may claim that biblical figures like Jesus and the prophets themselves engaged in forms of spirit communication, suggesting that Spiritism can coexist with Christian beliefs. However, these interpretations are highly controversial and often lack consensus within religious scholarship. The broader religious community, including most mainstream Christian denominations, firmly maintains the Bible's prohibitions on Spiritism. Conclusion. The use of biblical references by Spiritism remains a contentious issue, with proponents of the practice attempting to find justifications for their beliefs within the Bible's pages.